My 2.8. I'm loving this car. And I want to share with you now why, motivations, etc. I also want to share with you, if you are in the four-wheel drive accessory industry, there are some opportunities certainly staring me in the face for products that the Troopy community, which as you know is really significant now all over the world, except maybe not so much in North America, but even in Europe, and it's just, these products are just not available. Right, my 2.8 Troopy. That's the trouble with posting stuff on YouTube as a four-wheel driver. Everybody knows better than anybody else. Even if they know nothing, they still know better than anybody else. So I've kind of got to the point where I'm actually quite reluctant to share some of my stuff. Right, let's go. That was satisfying and easy and safe. It's a little after Christmas and I am taking myself on a short break to, how do I put this, play with my car. This is why I don't want to pull a trailer. We've had to move these two rocks, which I have done successfully with my troop carrier, so that the camper trailer can get through. So I'm now going to spot Heiner. He did it.
Easy,
Did it.
easy. You could have been lying in between that and I would have still gotten around that.
This is why I don't want to pull a trailer. You
Wait
get it?
until I put the trailer up, you'll be going, and this is why I would like to tow a trailer.
Yeah, maybe. To go to high range. You might be asking, where are you? Well, I'm on a private piece of land near a town called Augusta. It's about 4-hour drive from my home, and the track we're driving on now is a fire break, and I can't tell you exactly where it is because, well, it's private property. It's nice seeing some local wildlife. Come on, a big kangaroo. Come on, cross over. Here.
It immediately feels better not to be on tarmac anymore, eh?
Yeah, and we got lots and lots of kangaroos.
Are you just driving them through the bush?
I'm driving over them.
Andrew, I reckon I'll park the trailer here on the field and then I'll jump in with you.
Alright, sounds good.
You know, I'd love to say you can hardly feel the trailer when you're driving with it, but that's absolutely not true.
It's beautiful, man. Such a, yeah, we were camped right here. Nice place, well done. Cheers.
Thank you.
Very, very nice place.
Yeah.
In the shade of those magnificent trees. I first came here in 2022 after shooting the Friends Across the Canning series, when we gathered to reminisce about what a wonderful trip it had been. Do you want to go and look for that other camp?
Yeah, I think so.
It was this way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's through that clearing there somehow.
Here it is, down there, hook it under there. Come on.
Bloody put it.
How many times do I have to tell you how to do it?
Andrew.
Hook it, pull it towards you.
Oh no! Look at that. We lost with John in that forest at some stage. We could not find our way out anymore for, I think, 20 minutes or so.
Squeak.
Should we add a squeak to it?
It's actually quite quiet in there now. It's getting a bit boring.
Right, you might be wondering why I've asked you all here today.
No, not really. I thought we'd go camping.
I didn't ask them yet. I'm going to go straight over with no deflocks.
Ah, but you drive from the outside.
lockers. Smooth.
That was smooth.
Alright. Half an hour of lovely off-road driving. We have found an alternative camp spot. Right. At my level, I'm very slightly down on the right. So we climb inside.
You can't come inside. You've
Sorry?
been criticizing camper trailers forever. You can eat dinner with the mozzies in your Troopy.
All right, I will. I do think you're forgetting something though.
Ah, you got the food.
I've got the food in my travel buddy. No, get stuffed. I'll go and live with the mosquitoes.
Well, I'm gonna cook a meal inside then.
Okay. This is definitely a no-win situation. Well, good morning to you. In this video, I'm going to show you my lovely Troopy. Let's start with the looks. It's not as good looking as my. I don't think the new design of the 70 series is as nice as the old one. I still don't like this very oversized lump. There is a huge amount of glare off the bonnet with this car, and while I have addressed it to a degree with the wrap, it's not actually sufficient. I actually am going to wrap the entire bonnet black to eliminate it. Its stance, it's a great looking truck, yeah, but the grey V8 was best I've ever done. I think it's just gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous, but I do like this. It's not as if I don't like it. Is that if I look at my photographs of the best of my grey V8, I'm sorry, it just worked better. The bar is off-road animal. I chose it because of the way it looks, and it's lighter than the ARB, and I really like the ARB a lot, and I like the way it looks, but it's not as good looking as this, I don't think. But the reason why and this is my philosophy with bull bars. Bull bars are there in the unlikely event of a minor collision. It will prevent serious damage to the radiator, lights, etc., so that if you were on a trip and a kangaroo did meet the front of your vehicle, or in Africa, of course, lots of you in Africa, a kudu, lots of you in North America, a deer, doesn't end your trip. But if you have a collision with an animal, the chances are there's going to be some damage. So if that does its job, it might be bent, but it's protected the important bits. So you're going to claim an insurance and you're going to get another bull bar. So my rationale is, should I get the strongest bull bar that well, if I'm a farmer and I'm expecting to hit roos on a regular basis, yeah, get something that is just going to remove them. I get it. But for us, I've hit 3 kangaroos. I've lived in Australia now for 7 years. 3 kangaroos. I've done a lot of trips here and have not had any damage to my bull bars at all. So I went for something that, because it's lighter in weight, can I assume that it is going to be not as strong? No, not, yes. Well, yes. But do I need that strength? I wanted looks. So, and I think the off-road animal bar is beautiful. It's stunning. It looks so good. It has transformed the front of this vehicle. Right, what else? The lights are Laser Elite Plus. These have combined day running light function, and they give me a very, it's a broad pattern of light, but it does have a lot of range in the middle. So the great part about the the Sentinels is that they don't have a hot spot. You have a clean band of light. You have very good range clean, as opposed to a hot spot. And the problem with a hot spot is that it might be brighter, but actually it's not brighter, because of course our eyes react to brightness. So if our eyes now see a hot spot, the iris will close to that hot spot, and everything else will get darker. This is my opinion. If you have a broad light, you then are compensating for everything as opposed to a hot spot. So you get better vision, you get better range. You might get better range out of a light designed purely for range, but it won't actually work very well because the eyes will actually close down to compensate for the hot spot. Yeah? I should have started with that. I also have the Elite Plus light bar. It's only the 18-inch, but it's wonderful. And sometimes, if I'm for off-road, it's fantastic. Turn off the Sentinels for off-road. Just use the light bar, because you get this wall of light, flat light. Not a lot of range, a reasonable amount of range, but it's about light. It's about lighting the world. You get an incredible flat plane of light. I do not have a winch. Here's my rationale about winches. I didn't have one on my V8 either, my last V8. I did in my Africa vehicle, my 2012 vehicle, and I'm talking about just my Troopies now, and my first V8 in Australia from 17. And I never used them. And my rationale is this. MaxTrax are so good that if I was doing extreme off-roading on my own, I would want a winch. It's an insurance policy. But I don't do extreme off-roading. I do medium to light off-roading on my own, and if I'm going to do anything very difficult, I'm going to travel with friends. So why would I want a winch when I've got MaxTrax? Now, I go on and on about MaxTrax because I have lived in a world where MaxTrax didn't exist. There were other recovery aids and tracks that you could lay in front of the wheels. But the trouble is with those, you had to jack the vehicle up. So I had to have a high lift jack, and I used to carry a high lift jack for the main purpose of lifting a wheel up, packing underneath it, stuff underneath it. And if you had traction aids, I had tracks, I would put the tracks underneath, and those would then support the wheel and get traction and move forward. Now, with MaxTrax are so well designed that you do a bit of digging in front of the wheel, you jam the MaxTrax into the tread, and on the leading edge of the MaxTrax you've got those little nodules that grip the tires. So then, if you do it properly, the vehicle will actually, the spinning wheel will actually pull the MaxTrax underneath the wheel, and it works incredibly well. As long as you do enough digging in front of the wheel. If you had a high lift jack, you would be doing a massive amount of digging and a massive amount of jacking the vehicle up. So work-wise, the MaxTrax is when they say easy way out, it couldn't be a better expression. I think these lights are very ugly. I know that you can get white replacement indicators, and I'm very tempted, but nobody has come up with a white replacement for this, because this is unique to Australia. This particular light is unique to Australia. Nobody's come up with a white alternative for that. So it seems pointless to me to change that to white and not that, because then that really sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm waiting for somebody to come up with a white, any accessory makers out there in Australia, a white one of those, and then you sell them as a combo. Then I'll buy them. I would spend on that aesthetics for the car, because ugly. Right, wheels. These are Falcon all-terrains. Now, I could go on about my ifs, but I will. Mud or all-terrain. For my kind of work, both. And the reason being, because all-terrains they're far quieter. The grip on these particular tires, these all-terrains, and I've actually got them in my Africa vehicle as well, the grip on the tire is exceptionally good. Okay, gravel road handling, very good. Haven't driven them in mud. I imagine they're not terribly good. It's the wrong type of tread for mud. I have used for my rims the ROH Vapor. These have a zero offset. These have a negative 47 offset on the back. That's what I've done for my width correction for the back axle. I have not gone with, as I've done twice before, the multi-drive true tracker conversion, which is actually a conversion to the axle that can be done while on the vehicle. It's a very, very good product. But I tried something different. And spacers, for those of you saying, oh, why didn't you put spacers? Okay, two things about spacers, okay? They are flipping dangerous for an off-road car. Don't put spacers on your car if you have an off-road car. Because what happens with corrugations and dust, so they start to move with the corrugations, and you can imagine that's the unsprung part of the car. So the thing's moving like crazy, all right? So now, it starts to move. It just starts to move. Dust gets in there. And I was going to use the word literally, but it kind of is literal. Dust gets between the plates and they come off. They come loose and they come off. And that is why they are illegal in Australia. They should be illegal. Well, for a race car and things like that, they have their use. Definitely. Not enough four-wheel drive. These tables, now I've got two tables. This is the Maxtrax. This carries my Maxtrax at the moment. You can see that they're actually underneath my wheels to give myself, level my parking spot. And I'll talk about those more when I talk about the ergonomics of the kitchen. Before we go to the back of the car, I have the standard air, cyclonic air intake. All right, what's my take on air intakes? That is not a snorkel. I cannot wade in deep water with this. But here's the thing. Would I ever choose to wade in water higher than this? No. I like my car too much. And I know there are guys out there with YouTube channels and everything, and they do hardcore. If I was a hardcore off-roader, yeah, I'd change it. In terms of its efficiency for pulling in air, it is not as efficient as some of the others. Is that affecting my fuel economy? Maybe difficult to prove without changing it and measuring it. Changing that alone to improve my fuel economy, I suggested you, will do nothing, absolutely nothing to improve the economy or the performance of the car. Zip. But if you combined it with other things, then perhaps it's a good idea to add that to it. I have my Sun visor. Sun visor is an Australian product, but it's actually sold through the Toyota dealerships. So I've been asked that a lot. That Sun visor, where'd you get it? Toyota dealer. Go to the parts store. Ask for it, and it does fit on the new model. There was also talk about it, but it doesn't fit the new model because of the radar system with the 2.8. It does. It's approved. I have side working lights, and I have wired both of them up so I can control them from the cab. I can also control the working light at the back. They're all exactly the same. They are the laser work lamp, and the reason, my rationale behind having them connected from switchable from the front. If I am camping, for example, and I want to turn them on, I don't have to walk to the back of the vehicle, find the switch and turn them on. I just do that, all right? It's exactly the same with the other side. but I put the other switch inside here. And the reason why I've done that, sitting in my cab, I can turn on a left light, turn on a right light from the cab. And down on my dashboard, I've got a switch for the backlight. I will use these lights while camping sometimes, not a lot because they're very, very bright. More often actually than camping, I will use them when maneuvering the vehicle at night. So I want to see the right and left, and I have been told, and I've never used them off-road, but driving off-road at night, actually having them up front is really nice, which means you have to be able to control them from the cab. We'll get to the interior in a minute. Interior of this thing, so nice. So the sun is coming up, so I'm going to put out my awning. I have chosen the Bush Company 270. It's not the really big one, and I actually thought while I was building the vehicle that I might actually put the let me turn off this light quickly. You see, I can do it from both sides. I don't have to walk. I'm near the light. It's logical to me that the switch should be near the light. Okay, back to this. I had considered their XT Max 270, which has another arm here, and it wraps around the front of the vehicle. And I kind of like the idea, but I decided, here's my take on instant awnings. The easier it is to take out and assemble and pack away afterwards, the more you will use it. Well, that means that it's more valuable. That means that, because they're not cheap, these things, it means that the amount of money you're spending on them is actually quite well spent. Because, well, because if you use it a lot, it just becomes more valuable. It's as simple as that. So, now here's a design shortcoming. I can't reach that because of the table. And now all these products that we see on the market, oh wow, we go into the workshop and I do the same thing. I go into a showroom, see something, oh, I could really use that. But then when you fit them to your vehicle, things change because, well, I now have to get a step. When I've got this table out, I can't get to, on the other side, my fridge as easily. So everything in a build, you do one thing and it will affect other things. It's not a big thing, it's a small thing, but it's a thing. I actually thought these were Australian made when I first heard about them a couple of years ago, but they're actually not. They're actually made in South Africa. And when I had my first close look at it, I realized that this fabric is called ripstop, and it's a South African canvas, and it's a very, very strong, very nice material that they make a lot of their high quality tents out of it. If you are the type that camps in one place for a long time and generally doesn't do short stops very often like I do, I would recommend not buying an instant awning. Spend your money on something with poles. You could easily get it double the size with no difficulty. And these are expensive. They're expensive because, well, they're expensive. I mean, look at how they're made. This is not cheap. This is, yeah, and they're heavy. And they're heavy, high up. Not ideal. So I'd say do something else with the weight and do something else with the money and build yourself a simple roll-up awning with guy ropes and poles, because if you're staying there for a week or so, what's the point in a small awning? Get an awning twice the size at a quarter of the price. Let's talk about the tables and the Gull wings. This then is the Max Trax table. It is designed to hold 4 Max Trax. It is made by Mission 4x4. It's a very effective development of a product that was launched about 6 years ago, and it is an improvement in many, many respects, and it is an effective table, again at the perfect working height. It does two jobs. Table carries max tracks. The other table on the other side, however, only does one job. It is just a kitchen table. Now underneath it there is a drying rack. I'm not finding it terribly useful because the moment the wind blows, they blow away, so I should get some more pegs. And I personally don't find it particularly useful. I do like having two, but if I was to choose one of these two, Max Tracks table. Put the Max Tracks table on the kitchen side of your car. That's what I would do. The Gull wing, this one, the glass one, is made by Explore Glazing in Belgium. It is very important to have in a troop carrier this Gull wing be glass, because when you're driving, you look over your left shoulder, see oncoming traffic. If that is blocked off, that makes that maneuver very, very much more difficult. So I have always insisted that this would be glass. There is now made by these guys here, you're familiar with them, Mission 4x4, now make a glass Gull wing for troop carriers. The great part about theirs is it's actually interchangeable. So if you have a one of their awnings, you can interchange it for a glass insert. It's quite cleverly done, I must say. This is the Mission 4x4 awning with the mole pattern. I'm not convinced that this is a great idea. It looks nice, but a practical idea on the side of the vehicle, because anything that you pack on here, mount on here, a spade or something like that, is going to get damaged from brush. So I am not mounting anything on there. So this for me is about aesthetics. And of course the secret to the troop carrier, success of a troop carrier as an overlander, is access. And because it's limited through two doors and barn doors, it makes a massive difference to livability of a Troopy. Right, the water system is interesting. I've got an electric boiler. I have the Egon water hub distributing the water. It does so efficiently that there's very little water wastage, and it has a temperature mixer, so when the water comes out for a shower, it is at the perfect temperature instantly, no wastage. All right, and it's extremely easy to plug. That's the whole idea about Egon. Game-changing simplicity. Make it easy. You literally just plug it in and it works. It's just that simple. So if you're challenged with your plumbing and your build, well, check out Egon. But my principle is this. If you're a guy and you're on your own and a bucket and a solar shower is enough, why? Why bother? There's no point. Really, there's no point. If you're getting to my age when you think, hot showers are actually really nice to have, and I don't want the hassle of plumbing in gas, or I know I've been down that road. I've had all kinds of systems in my vehicles, and I've traveled with people. Hey, Sean, can I have a shower? And he says, sure. And 40 minutes later, he says, oh, by the way, your shower's ready. I feel guilty about sending the guy out to set up a shower for me. My attitude is, well, if you want people to travel with you, or especially you want your partner to travel with you, and he or she, most often she, but not exclusively, says, well, I like to be clean. Can you make it easy for me? Yeah, I'll rig up a shower for you. Yeah, but last time it took you 40 minutes. I'm not going to ask you to do that again. I feel bad about taking you away from your mates and your barbecue and your fishing to make a shower for me. Hey babe, see that button when you need a shower? About half an hour before, just press that button. Yeah? Ah, good. There you go. I'm going fishing. Bye. This technology is possible, and it is so easy, and it's not expensive. It's not expensive. And it's so easy. You have no excuse not to have a nice shower ready for your partner. A couple of grand and it's done, equipped, and it's easy. Anyway, so that's what I've got in this vehicle. And I've proved it, and I rant about it over and over again because I hear women, or men, actually more often men, yeah, my wife doesn't come camping with me. It's your fault most of the time. You haven't made it nice for them. That here is my water system. That is also a Mission 4x4 product. I've cold water out because the convenience of this is fantastic. It takes up no space, and it's right next to my kitchen working table. So it really is wonderful. Cold and hot out of those two. So if I want hot dishes, hot water for doing my dishes, and if I want to do dishes, that's my. Let's have a look. There you go. That's I can do my dishes there. All right, and food prep, etc. And I have my hot water out of there. That's my hot water. There, like that. Spraying my chair. It's got air in the system because I haven't used it since I last filled the tank. And this is the cold water. I made this up myself because I want to be able to deliver small amounts of water to save water. So it's important to save water to have a tap that is easy to control. What are we going to do now? Okay, electrical box. This is a shortcoming of this design, which is being corrected as I speak, because I can't access it easily enough from outside. So I have my AC connectors here. I'm sorry it's messy, but I like to actually show things being used as opposed to like they appear in the showroom, because you can get a better understanding. So with my USB and DC connectors are now being covered by all the wires from the AC connectors, and that's my Servo GX Victron display and my different switches. Now the problem is that from outside of the vehicle I can't reach these switches. I have to climb into the vehicle to reach these switches and to control this. I don't want to have to control this from inside the vehicle. I want to be able to control it from in and out. So they're redesigning it, and my idea is to actually have it here. So it's accessible from the back here and the side. And I was thinking that the DC and AC should be separate, so the cables don't, because I can't see, it's like a bird's nest. And once everything is plugged in and being used, it's too difficult to access. So we are busy designing that now. I'm not going to talk too much about fridges at this time because I've just released a video, or am about to release a video, all about fridges and my take on them. I've had a long history of them, obviously, and things have changed. They're not as they used to be. This is a National Luna 72 litre fridge freezer. It's a very, very good fridge. Its problem in this vehicle is that without this opening, this open, I cannot fully open the fridge doors and access all the baskets. So it's a bit of a disadvantage. As I said, there are some things that I like on this vehicle less. That's one of them. I had a Snowmaster, I think it was a 66 litre dual door fridge, but it was a low profile type, and I could access the baskets far, far easier. Snowmaster is no longer available in Australia, so I went to the next best thing, but I think it's too high. National Luna do make a low profile fridge. It is not being imported into Australia. So here's an opportunity for the accessories industry. Here's a product. The side steps are the standard ones that come with a Troopy, but I have coated them with Linex, which make them look better, and they don't scratch, and they are okay. Here's an appeal to the Australian four-wheel drive industry. Would you please make some side steps for Troop Carrier and actually Hi-Ace van they are light weight. I don't want rock sliders. I don't want a jack on them. I don't need them for heavy duty off-road, but I do need a nice looking powder coated side step full width for Troopy, and I guarantee you 79 owners, 76 owners will flock to them. Make it look nice, make it look classy, easy to attach, even using the same. There are plenty of bolt holes, mounting holes in the Toyota bodywork, plenty of them. This is an easy thing to do, and yet nobody's doing it because I'll settle, but I'm not going to spend that weight on my vehicle. Any takers? It's an opportunity waiting for you. Somebody's going to have to do it. Can't believe that nobody's done it already, because to me it's pretty obvious. The camper conversion, of course, is the Headspace. The best part about the Headspace is because of the angle one sleeps with one's head, the narrow side, which has the effect of lengthening the bed by a good half, I wouldn't say half a metre, a little less than that, but so much that the whole space feels that much more spacious. And of course, waking up in the morning, one can enjoy a magnificent view because of this enormous picture window, and I can just lie here and admire this magnificent tree and the kookaburras in it. Let me show you the ergonomics of the camping. Alright, I'm going to start in the back. This is obviously a chill out area, and I can work inside if I choose to. Now if I'm going to cook, I do have the option of cooking on an induction plate there and a preparation plate there. That's my one option. I do have to plug it in by running a cable, because at this moment I haven't run AC to this point. If I had to do the interior again, I would definitely run AC to that point. But I actually find cooking here is not that convenient. I'll show you why. So there's all my kitchen stuff here, and it's right here next to my cooking area. So it kind of looks ideal, doesn't it? The trouble is that if I'm camping with other people, then they can't get in. They're out. And then so this is a very small area around the back of the troop carrier. It's not spacious at all. So it does work. But the other problem with this is that it's at the wrong level. I'm stooping down to prepare a meal. It's not at a comfortable level. So cooking here is fine, but food preparation isn't. The level is wrong. And of course I cannot get to my drawer with it down. So if I want to open the drawer, and now I can get to my drawer. This would actually be better if this was up here and folded down. So if you see this in the future, high level and folded down, you know it was because nobody's done it. Everybody does it like this. And Sean, Mission 4x4, you need to do that. No more difficult. Much, much better. I would use this far, far more if it was higher. Whereas if it was up, I could get to my drawer. Yes, access to all the parts would be a little bit awkward, but I still have this space here in which to access things, so I could just move it and grab things. Yeah. So that's I think would be a modification worth doing. On my left door, I have tools and fire tools. There's no cooking stuff here at all. It's all tools. I'll give you an example. If I open that, there's a bunch of spanners. Basically, I've got 8 to 17 in there. Short spanners. They're Star-Willy spanners, and I have various tools, multi-purpose tools here for general repairs. It's a really nice idea to have a small pack of tools really easy to access. I know my main tools are kind of packed away. They're heavy, so they're far forward. But a small pack of tools like that I can get in an instant is so useful, because I might have something so minor to do. Something's come a little bit loose. I need to do a little electrical doodah sort out, or tighten a spotlight, or a working lamp, or I can think of 100 different things that might happen on a trip, and just having a pack of tools really convenient is a very, very good idea. On this side though, I have things that I use almost every night. So I'll have some tent pegs and some rope. That's for my awning if it's windy. I have in here cutting boards and various things for the kitchen. Most of the stuff is actually out because I'm camping. This here is for insect repellent. I've got these burning things. I've got most of the things scattered around the car right now, actually, to be honest with you. I've got a light. Looks like an ordinary Zippo. It's not. Really, really nice for lighting anything in a wind. These are odds and sods for my, that's a thing that makes itchy insect bites go away. A multi-purpose spoon, a lighter, a thermometer, my Opinel, my Grabble little Olight Warrior. And this is not a Warrior. This is called a Seeker. The Seeker, the little Seeker. That's my go-to everyday torch that I pop in there. Easy to get to, and it's always there. I have lights here. These are the National Lunar lights. I like them a lot. Right, what else have I got worth showing you? Here's a question. Should I have an enclosed kitchen box, or should I leave it open like this? My answer is not clear, I'm afraid. I think I prefer the kitchen box because I have all my coffee equipment up here, easily accessible. It actually gives me quite a lot more space in the back, but when inside it's really nice to have access outside. That's cut off. Also, the kitchen box takes up a fair amount of this very valuable real estate. So no definite conclusion. I can't advise you any way, one way or the other. Suspension. Not going to go into a lot of detail now. There is a separate video on the suspension. Briefly, terrain tamer, progressive coils at the front, parabolics at the back, with the superior engineering in-car controllable remote reservoir 2.5 inch diameter shock. That was a mouthful, but I can tell you now, the ride of this troop carrier is by far the best I've ever had. It has jumped a huge leap. I had in both my V8s and my Dream Tourer the ARB Old Man Emu BP51 adjustable shock absorbers. These are leaps and bounds ahead and cheaper. Actually quite a lot cheaper. And it was a no-brainer to me when I tested them and I realized how good they were. And not just their reputation. I mean, ARB's got a fantastic reputation. Good for them. So is Superior Engineering. Very, very good reputation for high quality. If you're considering, and I'm not sponsored by them, they did give me the shocks to test, but I'm not sponsored by them. So if you do this or don't do it, I don't see a cent. But I really think it's a good idea for you to, if you want a high-end suspension system in your 70 series, go and ask around about the Superior Engineering 2.5 inch shocks. Interior of my vehicle. Start with these door panels by consoles.com.au. They're beautiful. I think they just make the vehicle so classy. Really very, very impressive. And my driving position. You've seen this before, this very, very bright red arm rest on the fridge. Get to the fridge first. This fridge is the same as the 12-litre Snowmaster that I've had in my previous builds. It is the only console fridge that will fit between the seats of a troop carrier. The seats of a troop carrier are narrower than they are in a 76 and a 79. So like the Bushman 15-litre roadie, lovely little fridge, doesn't fit in a troop carrier. This is the only one, or one of very, very few. I have had to modernize my center console to make this fit, because I really like to grab a cool drink while driving. It is a little bit high. It would be nice if it was about 25-30 millimeters lower, but hey, can't have everything. And I'm happy with this. But it's a bit of a Heath Robinson kind of attachment to the car. It's good and solid because I've engineered it that way, but it is a homemade conversion and I've made it work well. It's not available on the market. You can't go to somebody and say, please can I have a center fridge in my Troopy. They are not available anywhere. If somebody could there's another opportunity. If somebody could come up with a solution that would be equally suitable for V8, or manual gearbox I should say, and the auto console, which is longer, that a fridge that could double as an armrest in a troop carrier, all the Troopy guys would come to you with the solution, because at the moment it's a problem and it is not easy to solve. All right, so there's another opportunity. Here's another opportunity. Okay, so this bright red thing is here because I happen to have a cover and I put a piece of closed cell foam in there and I've got a nice place to put my arm, but it doesn't look very good. So I thought, okay, we'll go on to, what was it, Alibaba? No, it wasn't Temu, it was AliExpress. I've actually used AliExpress a few times and actually find them quite satisfactory. And I spent a huge amount of money on this. All of $12, I think it was. And it is exactly designed for this. Okay, nice, hey? Isn't that cool? Look at that. It's really brilliant. Fantastic. So I bought it. I put the foam inside. It had some, which was rock hard. So I replaced it with softer foam. Put it here. And it lasted all of 17 seconds. Because the feeling on skin of this awful synthetic material was so creepy that I binned it. And I put my red bag back. Those of you who have watched our canning would be a good one, because there are lots of in-car camera shots of the Troopy, and my arm is always on this. And this was quite dirty and revolting by the time I got back from canning. But I'm back to my red cushion. I have not changed the seats. I would love to change the seats. Earlier on, I mean, when I say that, 4 years ago, even less, 3 years ago, I had terrible back pains when driving, and these standard Toyota seats were pretty awful for my back, and I suffered from them. And I put in Recaro, the Expert M seats, in my Dream Tourer and the V8 that I built after that. And I really like the Recaro seats, but they are so expensive. And honestly, I think I've got better things to spend my money on. And so I thought, well, let's persevere with the standard seats. And the standard seats are okay. I should get some seat covers to make them a little bit better, but I'm dealing with them. They're not great. They're really not great, but I'm living with them, and I'm actually okay with them. And I could drive across Australia and not have backache, because I personally am fitter. That's why these seats are better, are performing better, because I've got better. I've not changed the steering wheel. My V8, the last one, I put in a PVS steering wheel which transformed the vehicle. This is fantastic, I love it. Necessary? No. No! But then again, how many of the things in this video are needed? There was just something about the steering wheel, the fat, the controls, and all of these things about the steering wheel, which was really, really nice. And I loved that conversion. I'm not going to do it with this one because it's a much nicer steering wheel. I have the remote controls in my steering wheel, and so I thought, I know it would be probably an improvement over this, but not a massive improvement that it was over the previous very dull steering wheel. It would be only a small improvement, so I've chosen not to do it. The electrical system running the shop, I'm not going to give you details now because those details are in videos that I made building this vehicle, but I will give you my take on how to design an electrical system and why I've done what I've got. Okay, I've got 400 amp hour lithium, lots overkill. Yeah, a little bit of overkill there, but not a lot of overkill because I am cooking with electric. I have a Travel Buddy oven. I'm not going to go into again on how fantastic they are, not just for pies. That I'll rant about that in another video. If you haven't tried one, if you haven't tried a little oven in your car while camping, you are missing out. I don't need one. It's not you who need one. You want one because, anyway, all right, I promised I wouldn't do that. So, I have the DC-DC chargers are redox. I have two. We're testing the Egon dual hub. It's the Egon hub to simplify the wiring of a vehicle like this, but it is designed for 2 batteries, 2 chargers. It's called the dual, and it's available now. This was the final test run for that product. I have a dual DC-DC chargers, redox, a 25 and a 40. Alright, so I have dual redundancy. They can work simultaneously with the dual hub. I also have dual redundancy in my MPPT solar charge controllers because the redox have inbuilt MPPT controllers. Now, there is a separate video coming out very soon, so you need to subscribe and click that little notifications bell if you want to see it. And what we did is on that same trip, we had multiple solar blankets, we had multiple solar chargers, and we compared the panels. We also compared them with a rigid panel running high voltage. So we talk a lot about voltage and panels and the weakness and challenge of solar blankets and how to get the most out of them, because in some situations they don't perform very well at all. But we want to show you a way, I say we, that's Heine and I, of how to get the most out of those solar blankets. You can really boost their performance by doing a few things. We have a Victron MPPT backing up the redox. The MPPT from Victron is the superior unit. And now in that video we'll explain why. But having both, I have dual redundancy and I also can adapt to the different voltages. You see, the redox can't handle high voltage panels, but the Victron can. And we will show you why higher voltage is just plain better. So that's coming up soon. So we used it in this vehicle, all plumbed in. I have a Anderson plug out of that front door for my, which side is it now? That's for my Victron, and I've got the same thing on that side for my redox. Both systems work well, but some are better than the other in certain situations. So that coming up, that's a very interesting video. What am I going to do now? Well, actually, I'm not surprising. Superior Engineering is very, very pleased with my review of their products. And they've said to me, well, do you want to take it to the next level? Because actually you've just gone to stage 1. How about stage 2? Now, stage 2 is changing the geometry of the suspension. Now, you might immediately be saying, oh, Toyota know what they're doing, the geometry is right. And you are absolutely correct. It is correct. The geometry that Toyota put in these vehicles is perfect. Well, perfect. But I've changed it. I've lifted the vehicle. I've now changed the geometry. And I have adapted the vehicle to that 2-inch lip. But I haven't done all of the adaptations. One of the adaptations, the shock absorbers now have longer reach because of the lift. I've made those adaptations, but I have not changed other angles, like caster angles, camber angles, and I have to a degree, but how about going the whole hog in re-establishing the perfect vehicle geometry that Toyota intended this vehicle to have? Perhaps it's time now to talk about the 2.8 and my feelings towards the V8. I've owned 2 V8s with a manual gearbox. This has an automatic gearbox. Toyota now offers the 2.8 with a manual gearbox. I haven't driven it yet. My findings and feelings coming up now.